Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by the York Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, presented by leading experts in the field.
Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Morgan York with the York Group of Downing Fry, and today we're joined with our host, Jim York, and his guest, Donald Ross.Jr., President and CEO of Ross Title and Escrow.
Thank you, Morgan, for the introduction. Well, Don, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Appreciate it.
Haven't seen you in a while, but I know you're busy.
I'm Don, Jim.
For the viewers that haven't seen you, let's tell them a little bit about yourself.
Local attorney, been here since about '85. Tax degree, attorney for Downing Fry Realty, owner of Ross Title and Escrow. 40,000 closings, staff 7-8 people. Now working with my son Christian, who's licensed in Georgia and Florida. Actually, he worked for me when he was in undergrad at University of Miami, so all the kids grew up in the business as I did, with my dad being in the business. Good staff, been together quite a long time. Actually, they're related, most of them, so it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like working with my children, so.
That's good, right?
Right, it's excellent. It's been good. So our topic today is really questions from our viewers that have written in, which I thought was, we do that once a year.
Yes.
We should do it more often, but a lot of them have asked this question: what is the difference between Florida contracts and some other contracts throughout the country that you're seeing? I mean, I know there's a lot of other states, but the majority of people coming here are coming from not all the states, but a few.
Well, I think the big thing is to recognize that the states are different. I don't think most people, including our customers, realize that, you know, if they do it a certain way in New York or if they do it a certain way in Illinois, that it's different here. A lot of realtors don't realize that. And in fact, within Florida, we have multiple contracts. So it's not just state to state, it could be county to county within a particular state. I have a different view just because, again, I'm from Massachusetts, and I know in Massachusetts you have an offer sheet, which is sort of like a letter of intent.
That's
Then you go to the sales contract, or they call it the P&S. I have family that is in the real estate business. My cousin's the president of Stewart Title in New York and Connecticut and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Maryland, and he's done closings for my various kids who've lived in different parts of those areas. And most of those areas require an attorney to do the contract, to prepare the contract. It's not a fill-in-the-blank thing like we have here. You know, in New York, you have the lawyer prepare it. It takes a few weeks. And they have certain idiosyncrasies. The biggest is that time is never of the essence for anything in New York and New Jersey, places like that. So in English, what that means is if the contract says the second deposit is due on Tuesday, well, it might be Tuesday, it might be Wednesday, it could be Thursday, depending upon what's going on. The closing doesn't necessarily close on the day it's supposed to, because time is not of the essence, which means Tuesday means Tuesday.
Tuesday, right.
It's carved in stone. If it's not of the essence, it's whatever's reasonable under the facts and circumstances. And New York, it's never of the essence. So when I get a New York attorney buying down here, you know, that really causes them a huge amount of stress. It's so much a part of their DNA. Georgia, where Christian, my son, came from, he's licensed in Georgia and Florida, lawyers did all the closings.
Right.
And you'd have a title company, the insurance rates would be a little lower, but then there'd be an attorney fee on top of it, just like New York, actually, or Connecticut, or New Jersey. Some states like Mass, you can have an attorney do the closing or a title company. It's like Florida.
Right.
So when I get somebody from another state, part of my, you know, hi, how are you, my name is Don, situation is to find out where they're from. For me, that's important because I know what their expectations might be if they come from a certain part of the country, and then I know what they're used to, and I can point out this is different and that is different. And then I can point out things that are different down here, you know, like where mold is more of a thing, or radon's more of a thing, where semi-tropical versus, you know, a temperate climate up north. So what we've learned over the years, my wife and I living down here, you being the son of a builder, you being
Right.
an ex-builder, what's you learn over the decades being down here. So again, the sum it up, pointing out things are different, and what they take, even what's part of the sale differs. I mean, we get a lot of day of closing situations where the seller has already loaded into the truck certain things that typically would not be part of the deal in North Dakota. Mm-hmm. They just think it's just like North Dakota. It's on the truck.
One of my questions was, let's go on the next one. One of my questions was, how could they save on closing costs, and what the difference? I think you answered it, that you need a title company or an attorney down here.
Well, save, I mean, I had this the other day.
Because the cost here is somewhat more than there is in other states.
It's deceptive. The title insurance cost is higher, but if you go to New York, where
Right.
you have an attorney representing the buyer, an attorney representing the seller, an attorney representing the bank, and then a title company, the overall cost tends to be higher.
Okay.
Okay, my son coming down from Georgia, I mean, where attorneys had to do the closing, they had a set attorney's fee that was on top of the title insurance in every single deal.
Okay.
Okay, so, you can, what I run into is I'll get clients who will say, oh my word, the title insurance is astronomical, here in Florida, and they're from New Jersey or someplace like that. And I said, well, compared to New Jersey, it's high, yes, but you're not paying an attorney's fee. So if you look at the bottom line, how much you bring into closing, it's less money.
Right.
Plus, it's more certain it's going to close on time because we have time is of the essence. And this is more of a...
Do they have dock stamps on the sale in other states?
I don't.
Do you know
They
that?
have some transactional taxes, but it's not as bad as ours. And the way I explain that to my out-of-state clients is, we don't have a state income tax. So
Right.
the state of Florida has to run on some sort of revenue, and it's transactional. You'll have 2 mils on a mortgage. You'll have 35 cents per hundred on the promissory note. You'll have $7 per thousand on the warranty deed. Those monies help run the state of Florida versus a 10% income tax.
Right.
So when I have a larger deal, I'll tell the client that, I don't know about you, but I'm thrilled we're paying dock stamps and intangible tax rather than us paying an income tax year after year after year. And overall, you save a ton of money that way.
Another question somebody had was about reissuing title insurance if they sold it within a couple of years.
There's reissue insurance that we're required to give. It's a matter of the Department of Insurance requiring it if it's within, I believe it's 3 years, and we do that as a matter of course. There are transactions that we'll turn away. I mean, bottom line, the title company, a law firm, their businesses, and with COVID and with the economy being the way it is, prices have gone up, the closers cost
Right.
more money, the rents cost more money, and one way or another, title companies, law firms, they're not going to lose money in deals.
Right.
They've got to make enough to pay their staff and have a reasonable return, like everything. I mean, groceries has gone up. But, the thing that I see on, saving money, people, to me, it's the tail wagging the dog.
I don't disagree, but people do ask that question.
Well,
it's like anything. Everybody wants to save money, so they ask that, and
Yeah.
I think I wanted to bring that question
No,
up.
and they have a lot of folks who won't use a realtor,
Right.
and they think, oh, I'm saving money, so
Right.
they're trying to do it themselves, and they're not necessarily getting the best price. They don't necessarily understand the contract. They don't have a realtor there whispering in their ear that you're taking, this is a bad offer. You could get better for this, or hey, you should ask for this in repairs. So, a good realtor will save them more than they're spending.
And they should.
And they don't get that. I mean, when I bought my office on 41 years ago, I used a realtor. I mean, he happened to be my father,
Right.
but I was buying from the developer who was, they're a rare, they're a certain breed. Developers,
right.
They take risks, they're aggressive, and I needed somebody who was good at dealing with
Right.
people like that, and that was my dad. So in some situations, spending a few dollars talking to your accountant,
Right.
is there a better way to structure this? Do you want to do a 1031 exchange? Getting a good realtor actually, I think, saves money.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, we well, we've been doing it for 25 years here, but working with clients that has another listing, we work with a lot of buyers too.
Sure.
And that, the listing agent might be representing more of the seller, and that, you need that buffer there too.
Well, I'll give you another example. This was up in Baltimore. When my daughter was living up in Baltimore, they made an offer, her and her husband made an offer on a house on Patterson Park, and the family, to save money, listed it with a family member in Washington, D.C. The family member in Washington, D.C. did not know that the row house that my daughter and her husband were buying had a $50,000 tax benefit that went along with the sale. It didn't know the market.
Right.
Well, let's use family. We'll save, a few percent. They lost $50,000.
Right.
Because they got somebody who saved them on the commission, but they didn't know the market. They didn't know Baltimore.
Right.
So, I see that time and time again. I mean, I get a lot of people who call me that I've done closings for in the past, and my neighbor wants to buy the house.
Right.
And they don't want to use a realtor. And this happened actually Sunday with friends of mine, and they said, Don, we have 2 proposals from this one realtor within the community. If it doesn't go in MLS, we'll charge you 3%. So in other words, they already had a buyer.
Right.
Or if it goes in MLS, it's 5%. And I said, well, in my humble experience, and I gave them a few examples, you put it in MLS, the whole world sees that it's for sale.
Right.
Somebody in Miami who wants to get out at all costs sees this property's for sale.
Right.
They might be willing to pay more than somebody who lives within the community. You're paying 2% more to have it exposed to a big, giant market.
Right.
And they told me what they were selling it for, and I told them I'd just pick a really high number and expose it to the whole wide world, but ultimately it's a business call.
Right.
Would you pay the extra 2% in this case if it was a $300,000 deal and expose it to everybody?
Right.
Or is it just going to be within the little community where they know what the house down the street went for 2 weeks ago?
Or they could have excluded those people also in their contract too. So how about doing this is another question we have. Can they, a developer, if they're buying a new home from a developer, can you use you or not?
They can, but a lot of times there's incentives in the contracts that if you use the developer financing and the developer title company, they give you a certain amount of money. And again, this is, depending upon the developer, this can be good, it can be bad. If they're going to flip the property, what they save, that say $5,000 credit might not make up for the differential in the interest rate on the mortgage. That if they held that mortgage for say 10 years or 20 years, a half a point really adds up.
Right.
Okay, so they can use us. Sometimes they do. We use the same underwriter. In many cases, I'll review the developer contract anyways.
Right.
I know you and I have done shows in the past where I always recommend put down your realtor's name. I mean, the realtor with the listing works for the developer. The title company for the developer works for the developer. They're not going to return your phone calls like we will. They're not going to sit down and go over the contract like we will. They're not going to explain mold or radon or FERPTA or 1031s or any of those legal issues like somebody who works for them would. It doesn't have to be us. It's just anybody who works for them is going to answer their phone call.
Exactly.
So it's the same, realtors, title companies, if you can get your own, if it's a big enough deal, it's well worth it. You don't want the title insurance tail again to wag the dog.
Right.
If you're spending $1 million, $2 million or more, and you're going to cut corners on this, and you might overlook something quite significant.
Right. Well, Don, we're going to take a little short break here, and we're going to be back in 1 minute because we've run a little bit longer than we anticipated here.
Sorry about that.
We'll be back in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group, associated with the #1 brokerage in Southwest Florida, Downing Fry Realty, which produces yearly real estate transactions of over $1 billion. Jim, Michael, and Morgan make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty, with over $275 million in sales transactions, along with offering over 25 combined years' experience in the local market. The Yorks can offer the experience and trust you need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website at www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Looking for a real estate closing agent in Southwest Florida? Ross Title and Escrow has over 25 years experience and has closed over 20,000 residential real estate transactions. Donald Ross.Jr., president of Ross Title and Escrow and a practicing attorney in the state of Florida with a degree in taxation, is here to service your needs. Call Mr. Ross or one of our 4 closing agents for a free consultation today.
Welcome back. Well, Don, our final question here is from the audience, okay, and the viewers.
Sure.
Is that multiple offers? What are people putting deposits with the multiple offer, or what? I mean,
They don't know what the heck they're doing, honestly.
I mean, I know.
Office, I mean,
let's clear it up.
there's so many forms. I mean, the latest questions I'm getting on multiple offers are, can I accept this offer early if I told everybody, like today's Tuesday,
Right.
and if I told everybody you have until 5 p.m. Friday to put in your highest and best offer, can I decide early, Don? The answer is yes. I mean, there's no option agreement here, there's no
Right.
consideration, you know, there's no blood oath or anything like that. If you want to accept something earlier than you had originally told people, that's sure.
The listing agent can tell any potential.
The owner can
Right.
accept it whenever the heck they want.
Exactly.
It can be early, it can be late.
Right.
If it's 5 p.m. Friday and they get a phone call at 1 minute to 5 that, ooh, I'm going to have one for you tomorrow, they
Yep.
can push it a day if they want to.
It's happened.
It's not a
Yep.
binding agreement that he's going to make a decision on 5 o'clock Friday.
Yep.
So he can do whatever his dear heart pleases, or she doesn't have to be the highest offer either. Doesn't have to tell the other realtors what the other offers are, because I got that from a realtor, an experienced realtor the other day. You know, he asked if he's in the ballpark, and is there some law, Don, that says that, you know, they can't tell me when they're in the ballpark? So no, there's no law that prohibits them from telling you what the other offers are. I mean, went over the transactional notice form. There's limited confidentiality. But your owner may have given you instructions. If I were the owner and it was you were my listing agent, I would tell you, don't tell the other people what the other offers are, because you might get one person who just offers $100,000 more than everybody else.
Right.
Because that's what it's worth to them. Sometimes value is, you know, what they say, prestige and location.
Right.
You know, if that's where they want to live, they're going to spend the last 20 years of their life there. They don't give 2 hoots. They have a pile of money. I'll give an extra $100,000. When I'm talking to my buyers and they question whether something like that is worth the extra money, my question always is this an investment property or is this home?
Right.
You know, if it's home and you can afford it and we're here for a certain period of time, do what you want. I mean, I compare it to you know, buying a ring for my wife. I mean, she's redoing the bathroom in our master bath right now, and it's an older house. Is it practical? No.
So
Does
you
it make
bought
my
her a
wife
ring?
happy? Yes.
So you bought her a ring instead?
I did both. That's how you stay married for over 40 years,
Okay.
Jim.
How about the initial deposit?
The initial deposit was his second question.
Right.
Again, this realtor's been he's very successful. I mean, we've been dealing with him for decades. You see, all the offers now seem to come in with the initial deposit being 3 days after the effective date with the NABOR contract. And he asked, you know, one of his prior realtors who was making such an offer, you know, why are you doing that? He says, because everybody else does. There's no understanding with a lot of the new realtors anyways,
Right.
as to what the consequences are.
Right.
You know, they don't realize that under NABOR that the buyer is not at risk at all until they put money down.
Exactly.
Zero risk. In fact, I get a lot of questions from people asking, how do I get out of a contract? So first I have to ask, well, which one are we talking about? Is it Nabor or Farbar?
Right.
It's Nabor. Okay. Is it a condominium? Because they have that
Right.
3-day review period.
Exactly.
No. Have you put money down? No. Well, you could just walk away.
Right.
They don't know that.
Yeah.
They don't know.
It's
So
unbelievable.
the 3 days after the effective date, I believe, it's my humble opinion, was something that carried over from Farbar, because they do that in Farbar. But Farbar has, the Florida Association of Realtors, the Florida
Right.
Bar, they have a different remedy clause that the seller can sue the buyer for deposits made or agreed to be made if the buyer defaults.
Right.
Now with Nabor, if the buyer defaults and doesn't put a deposit down, the
No
seller's
damages.
out of luck.
All right.
And there's not a single thing they can do. So, you know, that brief period of time is essentially a free look.
Good job today, Don.
You sound surprised, Jim. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Always
We're
a
just
pleasure.
trying to be a loosen up here, and thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate
And
it.
we'll see you next month with Don, and we'll see what we can come up with for a topic. Thank you.